Hello and welcome back to this channel. Today's gonna be a very fun video because today we're gonna be talking about everything you guys need to know about growing the perfect strawberries in your garden. Now I will say I worked with strawberries for the last few years, and I will say of everything I've ever grown, strawberries have got to be maybe the most fascinating plants I've ever grown. By really how they grow, everything they really need to absolutely thrive, we'll be covering all of it in today's video. So before we do go and start today's video, please subscribe, hit the notification on all so you not miss our video, and please like this video. Let's go ahead and start right here, talk about everything you guys need to know. Now, I will say you can get strawberry plants 4 ways. Number 1, you could just go up to your local greenhouse, pick up some strawberry plants that are already growing. Number 2, you just buy some seeds. That is the most time consuming, the most difficult of them all. I've tried growing them from seeds. Some have failed, some have done good, just it's very time consuming and very difficult. Number 3, and this is the one I strongly recommend because number 1, it's pretty cheap and it's the quickest. You can get bare roots, which are very, very quick. All you have to do is just plant them, and then boom, it's game on from there. Or, in the easiest cases, if you guys already have some strawberry plants, like the ones behind me, you can see these little pots right here. I'm actually using the runners, and eventually I'll untangle them, but I will talk about that a little bit more in a second. But strawberry plants are really, really fascinating. Now, before I do go ahead and start talking about the runners, I really want to talk about how do strawberry plants really grow, because their growing process is really, really fascinating. Now, when I give people advice on growing strawberries, the first thing I will always say is never let your strawberries bloom and start flowering and producing those strawberries that first year. Now, let me tell you why. So, usually in the beginning of the spring, starting to get warm out, your frost date is completely gone and it's just slowly getting warmer. You're probably watching your strawberry plants, they're growing out their root structure and they're growing out their leaves, but they're not yet starting to bloom. Now, the reason why the plant is doing that is because it's getting its base, its structure, ready to start producing strawberries. Now, seems great and all, but I will say the first year, the base is really weak. It is brand new. It needs a lot of time to grow out its structure. Now, it can do that anytime. But unlike other plants where it just builds up the entire plant, like peppers or other plants like tomatoes, these plants, the second they start producing strawberries, all the energy coming from the water, coming from the sun, all that photosynthesis is now going to the strawberry, and the strawberries only. The root structure is getting nothing, maybe a little bit of growth here and there. The leaves are basically at its peak, but that's the thing. If your plant isn't strong enough to produce those strawberries, your plant will go under way too much stress, and in some cases, you'll accidentally permanently damage it, or in the worst case scenario, you will accidentally kill your plant. Now, I've done that so many times when I'm doing testing on plants, never realized it, and I accidentally hurt my plant or really damaged it because the amount of stress producing strawberries when the plant isn't strong enough just really is too much for the plant to take. But talking about the runners are really, really fascinating, and usually on big scale farms that sell bare root strawberries get them this way. They use them. Now, I did a video on the channel talking about these. If you guys do want to check that video out, it was a short, but really all you have to do, grab some soil, make sure the soil is just wet enough, and then eventually your plant will start to produce roots like that. Now, here's another example. This one, I should probably be getting a cup ready for, but I will say they grow very quickly. They will multiply. They're called runners, but they're also called clones. So, strongly recommend you guys to consider that. Make sure you do some research on the type of plant to make sure in your climate. If you're like in Missouri or Florida, different plants, different varieties of plants will thrive better in different climates. Like seascape strawberries will thrive in greenhouses or really indoor farms, while like sweetberry type of strawberry plants will thrive really well outside. And this is everbearing strawberry plants from Burpee, if you guys want to really check those out. But strongly recommend. The strawberries here are great. And I will say another thing behind letting it produce strawberries that first year. Now, sometimes the plant can produce it. If you get it from like a nursery, the plant's already really has a good root structure. But I will say your strawberries are going to be very, very small. Like, for an example, like maybe that. It's going to be just very small strawberries that aren't going to taste the best, to be honest. So that's another case why I strongly recommend not letting that produce strawberries that first year. Now, I really never realized how complicated strawberries are when it does come to growing them until I started growing them indoors. Now, I've grown hundreds of strawberries indoors and failed almost every single time. These strawberries are that picky. Strawberries do not like wet soil. They do not like soggy soil. They only like moist soil and moist soil only. They do not like a lot of water, and they really do not like it when the soil is bone dry. Like if you go on vacation or you really just forget to water, your plants are really gonna suffer, not like it. I will also say they're very, very particular on nutrients, very, very precise on grow lights and that technology. So I will say these strawberry plants are really not liking this area. Lots of testing still to go underway, but I will say it's very, very difficult to grow them indoors, and by far it has to be the most difficult plant I've ever grown indoors. And I've had a lot of you guys ask about this net in some of my past videos, so I really want to go into more detail and really tell you guys why I'm using the net. So bugs, especially birds, really enjoy the strawberries. They're going to be flying in the sky, maybe landing around here in the garden, maybe checking it out, and they're going to see that very bright, vivid strawberry just staring right back at the bird. I will say they're going to come up to it, and then once they try it, they're going to realize how tasty it is. And then they're going to build a nest in maybe a tree, and they're just going to wait for the strawberries to be ready. There's also a lot of other bugs. Slugs are a big one. A lot of other just bugs are just going to find a lot of great flavor in these strawberries. So I will say, getting the netting, and they're not horribly expensive. Amazon has a lot of great choices if you just want to get a small one. I'm using tent things to hold it down when it does get very windy, because we have very bad storms here occasionally. So I will say it does protect it very well. And the netting is very important too, because it does protect the strawberries from really hard rain. It also protects it from extreme heat and extreme sunlight on those days when there's just no clouds. It's just the sun and the plants just working together. Is just not the best match on some days, especially when it's like 110 outside. So very good there. I will also say, especially when it's outside, consider watering every day. I water these plants almost every single day. Now, obviously, the days it does rain, I don't water because that's just too much water for the plants, but I will say very important there. Now, I did cover a lot of information in today's video, but I didn't cover everything. If you guys have any questions that I happened to miss in today's video and I didn't answer it for you guys already, please feel free to comment it down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer it as best as I can. Now, if you guys like these types of videos and you want to help support the channel, feel free to subscribe, maybe hit the bell notification on all so you do not miss a video, and please like this video. I really want to thank you all so incredibly much for watching today's video and of course supporting the channel. I'll see you guys when we post next. Peace.